This was the most unsettling movie I've seen in a long time, and I respect that. All right, what's up, everybody? So this is my review of Backrooms, directed by Kane Parsons, starring Chiwetel Ejiofor and Renate Reinsve. Forgive me for mispronouncing any of that. It is a story that is related to the internet meme, internet culture aspect. I am not savvy enough to know about it. I just know it's related and connected to it. Of these back rooms that exist, and you're basically, into another dimension, portal. I'm not really sure about it. I didn't really look into it. I just wanted to watch the movie for what it is and judge it on its storytelling merit, not necessarily its connection to anything outside of that. And Chiwetel plays Clark, this owner of a low-rent furniture store. He's going through a divorce, he's doing therapy to deal with it. And he finds his way in the basement of his store into the back rooms. And the back rooms are like this maze of semi-empty rooms, empty hallways, and there are pieces of furniture there in random spots organized in a way like in a pile. There's no real logic to it. There's one room I remember seeing was like 3 couches, as if it's like sinking into quicksand. And is there not a creature roaming the rooms and halls of the back rooms? This movie did such an incredible job establishing tone and mood and atmosphere. It does something that, kind of flies in the face of the normal trends that we're used to, which I love, in the sense of, when you see a scary movie and there's going to be some kind of scary feeling because maybe there's a monster or something, it's always dark. You can't really see anything. You got maybe a flashlight, and then boom, something pops up in the light of the flashlight that scares you. Whereas in this movie, all of the rooms and everything, it's very bright, very yellow, very sterile. And so it kind of really builds upon this atmosphere of just being very unnerving, very unsettling, because we're just not used to it as audiences. And Kane Parsons built such a great story around it, with this man who, the Backrooms could very easily be a metaphor for the mind of Clark, where he's lost, he's confused, things are kind of chaotic, he's imagining things, and so I like how those two things are juxtaposed, where you can kind of see how he's really struggling in his life at this point, and now he's going into this other world, basically, and he's doing his best to understand what the hell is happening. He even enlists the help of some of his employees, and they're filming it for the sake of posterity and whatnot. And so the director, Kane Parsons, first of all, what a masterful job he did. I know that some people might not appreciate that too much emphasis is being placed on his age, because he is only 20 years old. But I think it's an amazing thing what he is able to do, because so much of what he did, a lot of times back in the old days, somebody his age would be in film school right now. They'd be making short films. They'd be learning about cameras and the lenses and, blocking and set design and all that jazz. But he is also a YouTuber. This is like the 3rd movie in my YouTube streak of movies that I've seen and reviewed. And the thing that I find most incredible is that, that old guard, it's done. Nobody has to go to film school anymore. I remember Kevin Smith famously went to this film school in Canada, in Vancouver, I believe. And then he came back from that experience and made Clerks. Now you don't have to do that anymore. Kane Parsons has been on YouTube making these short films So he's been doing the thing that you used to have to go to school to do. And so he's been doing it on his own. Same thing with Markiplier. Same thing with Curry Barker. So YouTube has basically become the training ground where you're learning about storytelling, you're learning about editing, you're learning about shot design, you're learning about all these things. And now, once you kind of got a handle on them, you put that all together with a story that you're interested in. With Markiplier, it was Iron Lung. He was like, I love this game. I want to turn it into a movie. This is how I'm going to do it. And now with Kane Parsons, it's like, there's so many videos talking about the lore of the Backrooms. He's like, I'm going to build a movie, a story around it, And for people like me, it's like, I'm not too interested in going into the lore after the fact, but it's a nice way to kind of introduce people who know nothing about this, in the package of a movie, a horror movie, psychological thriller, whatever you want to call it. And everything is just really incredibly well executed. The acting is great. How did this 20-year-old get two really competent, great working actors to be in his movie? That's what I want to know. That's what I'm like really impressed by. And the fact that they actually believed in his vision, and they didn't just say like, oh, this snot-nosed kid who thinks they have a half-baked idea. I'm going to go do the studio movie and make some money. No, it's like they read the script, they talked to him, really believed in his vision and wanted to be a part of it. And that's incredible. And so I really appreciate, even though it's not a perfect story, the third act kind of rushes a wee bit, but it's not a thing that I think takes away from the entirety of the movie. It is masterfully put together, very well done. And I think, and to just really go back to the age thing really quick, if you go back and watch some documentaries of Steven Spielberg, and he was making like these little movies at age 12, with the Super 8 camera that belonged to his dad, like he would be this guy. You know what I mean? As far as like figuring it out on his own, telling stories the best way he can, and then boom, one day, he's makes Jaws. I'm not going to say that that's what Kane Parsons is going to do, but that's what he is. He's doing it on his own way. And it just so happens that he's in a time now with a piece of technology that takes away the gatekeepers, the way they would always be back in the day. And I'm all for it. If you haven't seen it, even if you're not a horror fan, check it out. It's incredibly well done. And you will feel uncomfortable on purpose. Anyways, those are my thoughts. What about you guys? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Smash that like button, click subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.